Hello everybody. So let's talk today about Smile designs and how to add measurements to your Smile design, how to add intraoral scan to your Smile design. Let's also talk about the benefits of doing a Smile design with an intraoral scan, but also the limitations of doing a Smile design with an intraoral scan. As you guys saw it in the past 2 days, we were talking about Smile design principles, how to create Smile design in the first consultation. You also learned on how to take the proper picture, as you guys already know that taking the proper picture will affect on your Smile design process. Today, you're gonna go over here in our iPad version and we will do Smile design. I want to discuss with you guys the process, like how the calibration works, how the design works, and how it can also affect your treatment planning when you do a Smile design with an intraoral scan. All right, so when do I add an intraoral scan to my design? You can do it when you want to better communicate with your dental technician. That's like the main point. Second point is, when you want to, get a more in-depth of your design, when you want to get more clinical understanding of your design, you add an intraoral scan. Those patients that do not show the gingival margins when they are smiling, you add an intraoral scan. Those patients that simply don't smile, don't give that enough smile when you take the picture, add an intraoral scan. But now, what is the benefit of sending these informations to your lab? Well, as you are designing, I will show you guys here in a few minutes. As you are designing your Smile design and you have your intraoral scan, you are now able to visualize your patient's gingival margins and the actual proportions on a frontal view. That will give you the chance to make your own adjustments if needed. When you do these adjustments, you can then give your lab a draft of what you are looking for the final restoration, for the provisionals, and etc. But one of the main problems of creating a Smile design with an intraoral scan is that you are still creating a 2D Smile design. So it's still a Smile design over a patient's photo. So what happens here? Let me give you here an example. So here we have a model. Well, let's pretend that this is your patient's maxilla. If you look at it, if you turn it into the occlusal view, you will see that the curvature is rounded. It goes like that, right? But when you take a picture of a patient, all you can see is a two-dimensional view. So it's only the frontal view. When you're applying an intraoral scan into the picture and you design over it, you are literally just designing the frontal part of it. This is why when you are designing a Smile with or without an intraoral scan, be aware that you are designing a Smile only based on a frontal picture, a frontal view of the patient's smile. So there are some limitations, as you guys can see. However, it still gives you the chance to check on the height of your teeth design. It gives you the chance to elaborate a better treatment plan because you can see that static photo, and with that static photo, you can do your facial dental analysis all together. And you can use that information and send it to your lab as a visual reference to what you and your patient is looking for. So let me grab here And I'm going to show you guys how to calibrate an STL over your design, as well as how to add measurements and how to do your analysis. Okay. You know, when we do things live, we kind of like get lost here sometimes. There you go. Got it. All right, guys. So as you can see here, when we do our designing, we open our iPad. Then I go here to menu, a new patient. In this case, I already have my patient's files. Okay. So I go here to 2D's My Design. I select my patient's picture. You can select it from your photo gallery from one of these softwares, iCloud software such as Dropbox. So here's Samia's picture. And I'm also adding Samia's intraoral scan. Dropbox. All right, so here we have two files, a frontal facial picture. You can make your own adjustments if you want here. You see, I can crop the picture, for example, just to make it look closer. I can rotate, I can adjust the lighting. And I have my patient's upper intraoral scan. Now let me tap here on AI Smile Simulation. And my first step here is to calibrate my STL over my patient's picture. So here, let me zoom in. I'll set on 3 points: lateral, central, lateral. And I'll place the target at the same position. And I'll set points. Now let's finalize our calibration. This is not part of the design yet. This is the calibration of it. Okay, you can zoom in. And as you guys can see it here, it is really simple. Just make sure you guys learn on how to use the commands here at the bottom. And once you do it, you will do it in no time. All right, so now that I have my STL calibrated, I will tap on next. And I will start my design, just like you guys saw on Monday and Tuesday. First thing first, let's set this wireframe. Let's go here on our, start with the midline. You guys can tap here, symmetry, turn it off, so now you can have more freedom to continue on your design. So I can change here, for example, my ratio on the left, my ratio on the right. Let's set a smile curvature based on a patient's lower lip line. Let's set a height. All right, this is the first step, which is setting the smile frame over my patient's facial picture. I'll tap on Generate Smile, and then the artificial intelligence of SmileFy will give me a suggestive smile, right? So it's literally a digital version of what I'm looking for this treatment. All right, so here I want to, if I go to a Smile Harmony, I can change my design. So here I want to change it to, so centrals, let's do J01, as my patient has a more square face, and I want to get more square centrals. Let's change canines as well. So as I'm designing here, tell me where you guys are from. I see I have a lot of doctors from Brazil here today, US. Yes, yeah, I'm doing on my iPad Pro, but it works in every iPad. Okay, iPad Mini, as long as it's a iPad 7th generation or newer. Okay, so what is the benefit here? Now that I have my smile design in place, I have my patient's picture. With my STL, I am able to see my patient's gingival margins. So I'm not guessing as much anymore, because now I have a better vision of what's going on. South Africa, Spain, perfect, all over the world. So here, let's go to advanced. See here on the frame, I'll tap advanced, and this is one feature that I really like, because it gives me the freedom to make my final adjustments. Before, when I have my design like that, I'm only able to see, I'm able to educate my patient, to show my patient, like what we are envisioning for these restorations. However, when I add my intraoral scan, I see here that my smile frame, my smile outline is not 100% well positioned. Then I can make my own adjustments. I can change the buccal corridor. I can select the number of teeth. So for example, here I want to do up to the second premolar. I'll tap on advanced, which is a new feature that we have. And I can tap on the tooth that I want to adjust and change its height and width. Okay, see here? Perfect. Now let's look at this lateral. You see guys here? It's going over the patient's gingival margins. Before, when I didn't have my STL, I wouldn't be able to see that. But now that I have my STL in place, I can see that my design is not covering the margins that I need. So I will tap on that tooth and I'll just reduce the size. Simple as that. Same thing for here. You see this canine? Let me change the width, bring it down, and repositioning. I'm gonna place this premolar over here, making it longer just a little bit, and same thing here for my premolar. And now, what I like about it is that if I go here to colors, I can still see my design, how it's looking so far. Okay. Let me adjust this color a little bit. All right, so let me also go here. So there's a little separation, see, between canine and premolar. So I'm going to change the width of it. Now, I want you guys to understand one thing though, it's really important. When you are doing your Smile design in a 2D format like this, right? This is not a 3D mock-up. It's still a photo with an STL, but it's still a 2D photo. What you're seeing here on the centrals, yes, you're seeing the entire buccal surface of your central. But as the tooth goes towards the posteriors, you see that you only see the buccal and the mesial area of your posterior teeth, of the canine, premolar, and second premolar. Okay, so just be aware that Smile design in 2D like that has its limitations. It gives you an amazing benefit. However, keep aware that when you are designing towards the back, towards the posterior teeth, you are also only seeing the buccal and the mesial part of your design. No, thank you. So if you're working with a lab that works with digital workflow, this is a great way for you to show the lab what you are envisioning for your treatment plan. As you're giving this dental technician a detailed preview of your design, on how you want these restorations to look like. Okay, so one thing that I noticed here, for example, is that I noticed that my centrals, they're just too long. So what I can do, I can bring it to colors, tap on the tooth, and bring it up a little bit. You see, so you can literally do whatever you want, whatever you think it's important for the design itself. And you can change here on the frame. You can change the colors, you can go back to the shapes. You're able to see the STL. And once you're satisfied with your design, you can tap on next. And here you have your before and after. But now it's not only showing, the medium and the incisal part of the teeth, but it's also designed on the gingival margins of it. Okay, so in this case here, this patient, actually, we will see her in August, but we are already planning her case. As she's going down to Brazil, we're gonna go in our office to do her case. But here, as you guys can see, we will increase the laterals, which is her main concern. We will also change the shape of her centrals. You see, she already has some sort of like a square-like centrals. We will keep that shape, but we will just harmonize it so they are more, they look more like the same. We will also work on her canine. As you can see here, the canine is much shorter. This canine is much shorter than this canine, so we will also balance her occlusion and guidances. As right now, when she does her guidance, her lateral guidance, she is touching the first premolars, so we will give the guidances back to the canine. And then we will just harmonize the posteriors. So if you are working with a dental lab that you trust and that you want to like show them exactly how you want to work, send this information by adding some measurements. Okay? If you have an intraoral scan, you will be able to set the measurements of your restorations. You see over here at the bottom, measurements. You tap on set, and you can get the measurements of your restoration. So here, for example, the height 11.32 on the central. Here we're gonna do a little bit of crown lengthening. Like 1 millimeter, an average 1 millimeter here on this lateral. This canine here. $11.1. Yeah, that's the height. Okay, notice that I'm not doing the width, right? Why? Because this is a flat screen. This is a flat design. And if you look at my model, the model, it curves, right? So if I am curving it, if it rotates, the angulation will be different, right? Because here my design, I'm seeing on a flat screen. So if I want to check on my width of my centrals, it will work because I'm looking at the full surface of my central. However, if I want to check on the width of my lateral in a Smile design, it will not work because there is a curvature on my lateral right here, and then there is a curvature on my canine right here. I cannot, for example, go ahead and say, okay, so my canine is 5.83 of width. I can't say that because I'm only measuring the front part of it. If somehow I could change the view, then yes, I would be able to tell you what is the measurement of what is the width of my canine, which we will show you guys tomorrow. That with SmileFy, you're able to create your own mockups just like this one by yourself, right? But you will use a different Smile frame. You will use a Smile frame that fits the 3D design, the 3D module, fits the curvature of the patient, where you can rotate to actually perform a 3D mockup. So for 2D purposes, what you can do, you can get on height because you're looking at the patient from a frontal perspective. So how do I share this information? Simply by tapping on Share PDF. So you don't have to do anything. The application will do it for you. You enter the patient's name. And you see here, creating a lab documentation. You will be able to send it to an email, Dropbox, Google Drive, save it to your own files. You see, it's literally very user-friendly. So what is the purpose of this? It's so you can send it to your lab, then the lab can replicate it and create the mock-up for you based on what you designed, right? And also based on the measurements, the height measurements that you created here. Now let's save the case. And here you have it. So let's recap the importance of creating a smile design with an intraoral scan. So when you are designing it, what do you get? You're able to expose the upper teeth, right? Because now with the intraoral scan, you can change the opacity until you hide the patient's upper lip and expose the patient's teeth. You can also add measurements of the height of your design, just like as we showed you guys here. The reason, right? It's because since you're looking at a flat screen, you're not able to measure the width, but only the height. And then of course you can design with more precision because you're able to visualize the patient's teeth proportions, and you can make your own adjustments using the advanced buttons of SmileFy. So I've been saying this for a couple of days now, but as you guys saw everything is very simple. Everything is very easy. It's user-friendly. It doesn't take you enough time. I want you guys to download SmileFy, start your 14 days trials, and if you are already a gold member, you guys know that we have our courses where we will teach you everything about smile design and smile design planning. So please come here tomorrow, as tomorrow we will talk about 3D design, how you can create mock-ups for you to do your mock-up trials. All right, so hope you guys have an amazing rest of the day, rest of the night, and we will see you tomorrow.